G'day legends. So I've had a few people ask me to do a little bit more on the turbo kit and maybe make a proper video on it, which I would really love to be doing bigger videos like as I'm going through things, but I just don't have the time. So I thought I would take a bit of time this morning just to go over what this car means to me, how this has kind of come about, how long I've had it for, and yeah, my journey with it so far. So I got this car when I was 17, 25 now, I've had it for 8 years. It's been an amazing journey. So my first ever car was pretty boring. I got rid of it pretty quickly and ended up getting this. So it's an Ez30 6-speed manual wagon, good old Liberty Spec B. And I had so much fun with it for years, got up to all sorts of mischief as you do when you're young, and kind of had always had that kind of thought that it would be cool to turbo it or supercharge it like many kids do, unbeknownst to the fact of what actually goes into turboing a car at the time, being 17 or 18 and knowing very little about cars. It was more of a dream than anything to actually do it. As I kind of got more into cars and started working on cars, you know, I would do all the maintenance and stuff on this thing, thanks to basically a bit of just getting into it and just learning about it. Like, much with anything in life, you don't know until you start. You're not going to have the information unless somebody gives it to you or you've experienced it before. So it was just a big matter of trying it out for me. I am really kind of hands-on and mechanically inclined, so for me it was interesting to learn all about it and kind of have the satisfaction of finishing things and doing things myself, which was awesome. Lo and behold, I've had this car for a very long time now, and as I said, it's been my daily for 8 years. Funny story, it's had the stock motor in it for almost all of that time. So I bought it at 150,000 Ks. Basically, at around 250, I was doing silly stuff. And yeah, I killed the motor. So EZ30s apparently don't like about 40 seconds of helis in the wet. I probably had like a little bit low oil too, I'll be honest. I'd been thrashing it and it had been thrashed for probably like a week or two after its oil change. So there was probably a little bit of oil that would have been eaten in the combustion process. But more or less, I killed it. Like the thing itself lasted really well. Now it had timing chain rattle from when I bought it. So I was really scared. Originally, like when I first bought it, I thought, oh, I'll take it to Subaru. They'll look after me, like they'll do the right thing by the car. At 150,000 Ks, they told me it needed an engine rebuild and I was up for like 10 to 12 grand. I only got a second opinion because I didn't believe in the car, drove fine. It just had this tiny, like not even a loud noise. And so I ended up getting a second opinion from 2 different places. One of them was useless and the other one was actually turned into my great friend who inspired me to do this recently. But anyway, he had a quick look at it with me for half an hour or so and basically said to me, don't stress, I'm not sure what it is. He wasn't sure at the time, but my 2 cents is rather than paying 10 or 12 grand for a rebuild, we can find a low K motor and slap that in for just a few grand. So my kind of luckiness, unluckiness, whatever you want to call it, turned into me just kind of sending the motor and just driving it and just maintaining it, doing all the things you should do to a motor to keep it healthy. And it ended up lasting 100,000 Ks of abuse. Now when I say abuse, I mean I've done hill climbs in it, I've done track days, I've done paddock bashing, I've done, you'd say, not proper four-wheel driving, but much more than a lib wagon should ever be put through. So it's seen a life. It had definitely seen a life, and then I finally was dumb enough to kill it. Again, no fault of the car or the motor. It was the dumb driver, which is generally what happens with motors. Like 80-90% of the time, it's actually the driver that kills it. Anyway, this is just kind of one of those things to me. I've had this car for so long. It's the thing that got me into cars. Working on cars, going to meets, all that kind of stuff. You know, for the first 2 years of me owning it was my baby. You know, I didn't eat in it, didn't drink in it. Like, it was cleaned every week, every couple of days, really. And now it's just like the work beast. I've had it for 8 years and I've got like Skylines and GC8s and, you know, other cars. So it's not, you know, kind of needing to be pretty anymore. And to be honest, looks for my cars are the least of my worries. I'm not, honestly, I really don't care that much. The big thing I care about is how they drive. Are they good to drive? Are they fun to drive? That is the biggest thing. So this has always been a blast to drive, like an absolute awesome car to drive. It is torquey down low. It's not crazy powerful. What are they, like 184 kilowatts at the fly? So what, call it 120 kilowatts at the wheels or something like that. So not crazy quick, but super, super fun. Super, super fun. And with the turbo, hopefully we won't lose too much down low. Being a high compression engine should spool up pretty quick. That is the one thing I'm concerned about though, is one, the sound. I'm gonna lose my nice NA sound. And these things, when the exhaust is done kind of right-ish, mine was lazy, but it still sounded good. They sound really good. Like, I've had a lot of people ask me, why does this thing sound like a Porsche? And it's like, oh, well, it's an EZ30. Subaru did actually develop these with Porsche, so Porsche type thing. Or as there's a few, I think it's Alex DeBelli who does like Porsche with a B. That dude's cool. He does a lot of help in the Liberty forums. Good on him. And yeah, awesome guy. I love the builds that he does too. He's got some pretty cool stuff, and his R&D's awesome. Anyway, we are pretty well good to go. So I'm just going to go through a quick like what I've had to do so far, and what's left to do on the making side of things. So this is day 5 of doing stuff now, and I thought I'd make this video here. So I'll just grab the texter so I can start marking them off for you. But we're gonna go like this. I'm gonna go, so this is what is left for the EZ30 budget build. So we have made the custom headers. We'll do a fucking tick there. I probably shouldn't use a permanent marker. That's probably not a great idea. And yes, I do have stuff everywhere. Ooh, what's under there? STI motor. Anyway, let's not use a permanent marker. Let's get an actual whiteboard marker. So we've made our custom, headers. We made the up pipe and kind of got the turbo mounted in the engine bay exactly kind of where we wanted it. It's in the general area. It was kind of pretty hard doing it all by myself, and just using various zip ties and bits and pieces to hold it in the place that I wanted it. Yes, that's right. That's how I made it. Full budget build. Everything was done by me. So when you see like Almighty Car Mods and stuff, like, I think it's awesome what they do, and I think it's awesome that they've got so many friends that like help them out, and I know they pay them all. It's all it's all cool. I don't have that kind of budget. Luckily enough, I've got a few skills, so I can do most of it, well, almost all of it myself. There has been a few little things which I have had a mate help me out with, like big shout out to Linus from 4 Quarters Fabrication. I have stolen some bits and pieces of scraps for him for the build, just bits and pieces that I didn't have, and sticking true to the build, they were scraps. As I said, there's not really been anything that's been brand new. Like, the scraps that I took from him have been things that have been lying around for literally years. So it's awesome, and I really appreciate all the help and the few questions that I've had. You're a legend. Thank you so much. I really recommend him to anybody who's looking to get fab work done, whether that be kind of bash bars for drift cars, front mount piping, anything really. I mean, inquire with him. I know that he's getting busy enough that he can start picking and choosing his work. So he might tell you to get stuff depending on what it is, if it's something he doesn't want to do. But do get in contact with him. He's a busy man. He does amazing work. What we're going to do is we're just going to keep going through this. So we have made the up pipe. We have figured out where all 4 of our O2 sensors are going to go, and we have welded in the O2 quote unquote bungs, which I'll just grab what they actually are. So it's actually these, man. I've used these. I've just rounded them and cut them in half. I used 2 of them. So they're the right thread pitch and everything, and they work really, really well. We've got our O2 sensor locations. We have marked our turbo drain point on the rocker cover and welded a fitting on. Now, I've got that over here. So I'll show you this quickly now. Just got stuff all over the place because I'm kind of doing this in between customers' jobs. So yes, we've got that done. We've got our wastegate location, welded it in and made sure that nothing has bowed out of shape, so it actually still fits up and there's not going to be any leaks, which if you've never done any fabrication before, if you put too much heat in at any point, it will basically make everything bow, and you'll have what was once in shape will be off and not in shape anymore. That's all done and everything is minto. We've lengthened the O2 sensors, so that's good. You know, we've put some flex bends in to the up pipe and the down pipe to help with cracking and stress, because everything has been done kind of gung-ho, so we do want to limit the stress and fatigue that we're putting on the metal. We've mounted the catch can in the engine bay. This is kind of just sitting like that at the moment because I'm draining over all of the leftover liquid that it was in there from its last home. It'll sit more like a little bit more like that when it's done, so it's a bit nicer. And obviously we've got our nice big intake that'll come here. I'm just getting a little fitting put in there. So we've got our flex bends in, we've mounted our catch can, we've figured out the hose routing for that, so that's all pretty well done. We just need to actually install it when we install everything else. So I modified a VF34, VF30, VF35, VF28, whatever you want to call it, oil drain to suit the GT3076 because I didn't have an oil drain for it. I still need to get a gasket, which I'm pretty sure I've got somewhere. I need to finish the front mount when the parts arrive, so I'm still waiting on parts for the front mount. I've got a few bits and pieces kind of done, but I'm still waiting on some couplers and the AFM adapter, and that's about it. So I'm just waiting on a few parts before I can actually finish up the intercooler piping, which is a bit annoying. So waiting for stuff for that, welding fitting to intake for catch can, hopefully get onto that today, weld extra material onto that first piece of cooler piping for boost reference, not this one, it's a small one that comes off there. And then that is kind of the making stuff all done. Okay, so that's really, really cool. I'm really stoked about that, because basically now, after that, it all just comes down to assembly. So with assembly, we're gonna have to install that rocker cover, we're gonna have to install the bigger fuel pump, we're gonna have to basically take the whole kit off again and install it all with gaskets and make sure that, you know, everything's in its nice location where it's not gonna leak. We're gonna have to plumb up our oil and water feed and return. There's a bunch that needs to be done once we've finished the kind of making of everything, and then we can kind of actually assemble it and get it running. So we've also got to change over the injectors to some 565cc injectors. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. So in saying that, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Hopefully, you know, you've kind of learned a little bit more about me and seen kind of what this car is and how long I've had it for, some of my passions with it. I mean, I don't want to go into all of the stories because not all of them are safe to be said, but basically I've had so much fun with this thing. It has been an absolute blast. I've never done anything stupid, like a time and a place, people. I'm not saying that I'm an idiot, but I've had so much fun with this thing. Like, it has been absolutely awesome. As I said, done hill climbs in it, track days, paddock bashing, all sorts. So it's really been the thing that got me into cars. One, like, as I said, the good mate that kind of gave me the advice not to get it rebuilt at Subaru, I had always talked to him about kind of putting a turbo on it and how we were going to do it, how cheap could we do it, just out of like not wanting to spend money on it. In all honesty, I've got other cars that I spend way too much money on. That STI and short block and heads and stuff over there, yeah, that stuff, like, that costs way too much money. More money than I'd like to say. So it's just kind of one of those things. Like, for this one, because it is just a daily, and like, I love it, but at the same time, I've had my fun with it, and like I've got back every cent that I've put into this car in fun. So it's kind of like at the stage now where the turbo's going on, and it's just going to be a little bit of a send it. So as I said, I did pop the motor in this not too long ago. I put in another motor with like 170 thou Ks on it. Good motor. again, timing chain rattle. Like, I swear it's an almost factory thing with these motors. I've only found like 3 of them in my entire experience that don't have timing chain rattle. So it is what it is. My thoughts are we're just going to put 10 to 12 pound of boost through it and see what happens. If it goes pop, it goes pop. We'll figure that out if and when it happens. If or when it happens, I should say. I shouldn't say when it, like, or. I don't know. I hope it doesn't go pop. That's the main thing. If it doesn't go pop, it makes my life easier because I can just drive it and enjoy it. That would be good. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride with it. And after talking with my mate for years and kind of talking through ideas, when he passed away probably 2 months ago now, and I just kind of figured like it was time to kind of do what we'd always said. I have all the skills, I know how to do it all. It's just a matter of putting in the time and effort to do it. And yeah, when I heard he passed away, I kind of just dropped everything I was doing and just started making it. I spent 2 days just making it, just to kind of keep myself sane, because as you know, a lot of emotions and all that kind of stuff. Really good mate for many years, so a lot of emotions, all that kind of grief and getting yourself through it. Now this is me just being completely open and honest, because I believe that it's easier that way for both of us. I reckon we'll both get more out of it, actually. Just communication and knowing people. Like, there's no point in hiding things, because people see through lies fairly easily. So I was pretty devastated when he did pass away, and I honestly just spent 2 days just cracking away with it, just getting it done. So I actually didn't get a lot of time to look at it for another probably month or so after that. Probably more than that, month and a half after that. And then I got another 2 days, and we've pretty much got it up to where it is now. And now we've had, another day. And we're pretty much there. Like, I've 5 days into it at the moment, and I'm waiting on parts to get it done before I can kind of go through the big cleanup process before assembly and start assembling it all. Yeah, I hope you guys are gonna like the build. I'll get some more videos out hopefully soonish. I've also taken a few little videos of basically when I've been making the some small bits and pieces. Like when I put in the flex pipe, I quickly videoed a few snippets of that. So I might make a video just kind of explaining, that's how I did it. And I was a bit I filmed some very small bits. Anyway, I'll make another little video about it, because it'll be funny how much I just like get shit done instead of trying to focus on filming, because I just forget about it. Like, I just want to get it done. That's who I am as a person. The quicker you can do things, the quicker you can learn, the quicker you can apply, the quicker you'll succeed. And like, the quicker you'll fail too, but you'll learn from your failures if you're doing things right. Don't get down on yourself for failing, because everybody fails. It's what you do with the failure. It's whether you learn from it or get down on yourself from it. So I'll leave it there. I'm going to get cracking back into it and start doing some stuff like changing the fuel pump and possibly the rocket covers while I'm still waiting on parts. Awesome, guys. I hope you have an epic afternoon, morning, night, evening, wherever you are in the world. Take it easy, stay healthy, be better every day.